Hello and welcome back to Miss Craftslet's Lair. I am Barbie, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United States. I am here today to show you how to make this beautiful, simple card. This is using the Saleabration Hey Chick stamp set. Today I am going to be using all three of the bigger chickens and the Have a Happy Day sentiments. I'm also using the hexagon dynamic textured embossing folder. I probably called that by the wrong name. I have a horrible habit of calling it dynamic hexagons. Close, not quite. The only thing that I've realized that when I got this particular embossing folder is how thick this one side is. So you'll have to do some playing with it with your Big Shot in order to get it to be just right in your machine. I haven't had an issue with it. The exact idea that I had to put it through worked for me. Doing good. And so that particular one will get you a piece of cardstock that looks similar to this. I just kind of lined it right up right along the top of it and sent it through my machine. Now, this particular, I cut this piece of Whisper White at 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. It's just gonna fit on the front of my card with just very little of the crumb cake showing. Now, as a lot of you know, I go for the crumb cake. The card base for this particular card is the typical for me, the 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. It's my go-to card size, I guess. I also have a 7.5 inch cut of the 5/8 burlap ribbon. And I am just going to adhere that quick with my tape. I put my tape here and I put my tape here, and I am just going to wrap this around quick. Another quick shot of tape to hold it down, and then, oh boy, go ahead and stick your card to your paper. Oops. And so that's that. Now I have, for where I put the chickens, I have 3 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 squares. And then for the mat for those, I have the 1 1/4 square are Whisper White, of course, and I have 3 1.5 by 1.5 squared pumpkin pie. Those are for the mat. And then for the sentiments, I have to bring out my ruler again. It is 5/8 of an inch by 1 1/4 inch for both pieces of the Whisper White and the pumpkin pie for the mat for that. My basic black. I am going to take my crazy haired chicken. I don't have the the stickers on the back of my Claremont stamps, because I find that they tend to stick for me a little bit better if they don't have the stickers on them. And so I'm going to turn my paper a little bit here. So make sure he's good and inked. And I'm going to kind of stamp him into the corner. Give him a break. And then I am going to stamp. This is the chicken that's kind of looking back behind itself, is the best way I can come up with to describe this particular chicken. And I'm going to stamp all 3 of these chickens so they're kind of at the bottom corner. Let's see how I do with him. I can live with that. Not exactly the way I had it on my demo card, but and then for this 3rd chicken, I am going to stamp that in heading towards the corner as well. Now, I use the black archival, basic black ink for these, and the plain Whisper white paper. This is something that I wanted to point out as well, due to the fact that I am going to be watercoloring on these. So I am sorry I did not mention that already. Perfect. Before I get to the matting, I am going to now archival basic black is pretty good for this. It's not gonna go too far, if at all. The other thing that you have to remember though is that this is plain Whisper white paper, cardstock, so you also don't want to get this paper too sloppy. But I am still going to use my aqua painter. Go with the Bermuda Bay, the Melon Mambo, the Real Red, the Daffodil Delight, the Rich Razzleberry. Like I said, Rich Razzleberry, Melon Mambo are my favorites. And the Pumpkin Pie. I will color these guys in with my watercolor pencils. I am going to kind of go lighter in some areas, darker in some areas, depending on how I want it to be shaded. Also, I am going to speed this up if I can, so then that way I'm either going to speed it up or I'm going to cut away from it and come back. So then that way you don't have to be bored with my coloring. There we go, and I have them all colored up with my watercolor pencils. The watercolor pencils I should throw out there are in the Occasions catalog for 2017. I have my smaller of the 2, this is the larger, of the aqua pens. Now, I cannot stress this enough, this is not watercolor paper. This is the regular Whisper White cardstock. You don't want to get this stuff messy. It will disintegrate right in front of you. Get it too messy and it is going to go. But this is completely possible to do. I have, as you can tell, I've already done it. The key is to let the water come out as the water wants to come out instead of squeezing it to make it come out faster like you can. So get the brush wet. I'm going to try it on my paper here. Looks good to me. And then I am going to come in here ever so quickly. As a matter of fact, I got a little too messy. I better watch my mouth or I'm going to make a mess. And just like that, we have on Whisper White, we have one watercolor little chicken. I am going to watercolor these other two, and we will be right back. There we go. 3 watercolored chickens. Now, it goes without saying that while you are in between colors, you do want to kind of wipe off your aqua painter. I have some paper towel here to take off whatever extra is on there. Also, if you are new to the aqua painters, you can see that mine is loved. Mine has a little bit of a blue tinge at the end. That does not matter as long as it is still coming out clear. You do not have a problem at all with that coming off on your project. So I will get to matting these birds here just as soon as they are nice and dry. I am going to, in the meantime, come in with my tape runner and mat the Have a Happy Day.
Happy day.
And I am also going to fix this real fast. I can put this on my card too while I'm waiting for the birds to dry. I'm going to take out my Tombow to try to see if my Tombow is going to be a little bit more work a little bit better on the back of this particular card than the or work a little bit better on the back of this front of the card than my tape runner did. It was I had to fight with it a little bit with my other card to get it in the right spot and to get it to stay a little bit. There's that. Now the crazy chicken is done first. Now, as you can tell, it does look like it kind of came through on this one. It's still usable. It's not it's definitely not all the way through like it could get. I'm not too worried about it. It is still a little wet though. And there's that one. Okay, so we're going to take out the Tombow again. I didn't want to go with the watercolor paper because the watercolor paper is really rather thick. There are times that you kind of need the watercolor paper, but for this little cute card, I obviously chose against it. Use my Tombow on the back of this. The glue runner the tape runner is just not gonna work with this. Not work with me today. As apparently I am also going to get messy with the glue today too. I am a messy crafter. There is no way around that. So for these I'm going to use dimensionals on 2 corners to pop these guys up. Super cute. It's pretty quick, minus the dry time if you get your paper a little extra wet, but and then before I take the okay, so apparently this isn't working for me either. Okay, so before I pop these guys off of here, I am going to just position them to see if I like where they're going to end up. Put him up a little higher. Okay. And then I'm going to fight with some dimensionals. And I will put him there. I believe that's considered on point. Technical, crafty terms. Kind of kitty wampus under there. glue dot underneath that part. And last but not least, the Have a Happy Day sentiment. I'm gonna run my bow under the back of that. Push it down, and there we go. Our finished card. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, share with your friends. All of the dimensions and product list and everything else you need to know, my store, my blog, all of my social areas, all in the description below. Like I said, like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate the shares right now. I really appreciate the likes and subscribes. I am a newbie. I greatly appreciate it, and I will be back. So I hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time.